Hello.
You are
Whoop.
Can you?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, can you see me?
Okay.
Sure. Yes, sir. Um, right that. June. Hello. Yeah, that was Pierre. I'm gonna have to mute you now.
Good. Is there a login page I'm just here to get it to trigger?
Um, Commissioner Taylor, how did you log on to their Wi-Fi? Is it Jenny get or?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Is there like in there a page that you go to click a disclaimer? I can't get.
I'm in my stuff back.
Yeah.
Is it showing up on your, package? Yes.
Yeah, I'm connected to it, but I think I'm missing like a. Cause I remember every time I've done it before, a page pops up where it says, I agree to the terms and conditions. Like, oh,
That's grass. Leave it all. You're
You want the fan? I'm good because I have a jacket on.
Oh, so you have a channel. What? No, yeah, I could say. That means I got the kind of things and I'm right on the floor at the top, on the floor. And so the community sidewalks because I got it. It's all over. That's published.
Okay.
Yeah. The August 26th, 2026 meeting of the Ocean Highway and Board Authority is now called to order. If you would stand and move for the invocation led by Commissioner Saul, followed by the pledge.
Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we do thank you for this great country that we live in. We thank you for the many blessings of freedom that you give us. We ask now that you meet with us and that you give us the wisdom that we need to conduct the business for the Ocean Highway Port Authority. We ask that you watch over our first responders and servicemen and women wherever they may be. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please join me and say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. This is the God, which is says, one nation, under God, the end of his fall, with the others. Yes, it's proud. We're then call the roll.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Moore is joining us virtually and by phone. Commissioner Cole,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Hill, Vice Chair Moore, Chairman Nelson.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all of our guests that are here tonight. Thank you for coming out and spending this time with us. With that being said, we'll move on to public comments. I don't have any on the agenda comments. So we'll move on from there to old business. We'll start out with 7A, facility usage fee.
So we were going to, I mean, I've done my work on this and it was, I summarized it. We've got the facility use fee collections by the operator. Now 25% of the agreement is supposed to come back as of year 7, which is 2024, come back to OHPA. And then OHPA is also responsible for the property insurance if we can pay it. So as you know, the operator has been keeping the facility use fee and using that collection to offset what the premium amount is for the annual property casualty insurance for OHPA, for the OHPA property. And so we needed to come up with a letter agreement where we agree on how we're going to move forward with this. The operators basically last proposal was that the resolution that the Port Authority passed in 2019, so that those amounts that were due from OHPA for the insurance would end every year and not accumulate into past due amount. For example, the operator is saying that they would like that to accumulate to a past due amount. And I believe that there's been some calculations with Pierre. So I'm just introducing it. And so if the board decides to go that way and accept the operator's proposal, then we will need to go back and change that 2019 resolution.
Pierre, do you have any idea what we're looking at as far as insurance premiums?
Yeah, so obviously they sent us the invoice, I guess they're, so the 303,000 is the
It's 2 invoices.
2 invoices,
Yeah.
right?
And then I sent more information to Tammy. That the thing is, our insurance is wrapped up. And so it's a big bundle of insurance. They can pull out parts and say, this is how much the property insurance was for the port. But I don't know a lot about insurance, but you asked for other things.
So there's a couple of things that we'll deal with offline
Okay.
is the property insurance I opened up with. So what we're doing is, and this is, we were not involved in these. There in Florida, public agencies, including special districts, can choose, and of course pay for it, but we can choose to go into and become members of either one of 2 insurance trusts, only available to government agencies. One is called Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, which is what OHPA has for its liability coverage.
Got it.
I can't say it's cheaper. I don't know. I've never compared private market to this. But they also offer other lines, including property casualty. So in emails, when Rosanna and I were just discussing getting insurance, like getting a copy of the policy from records, I said, has OHPA ever checked with FMIT on property casualty? Have we ever asked them for a quote? And I guess we haven't. So Pierre and Rosanna said, well, we should just probably float it by them and show them what we currently have. That's why we're out.
Got it. Okay.
So that's what the loss run reports are. Those you get from your broker. Your broker can provide anything.
Yeah.
There is an easy way for you to take out any of the covered. It really will be equipment for you. It's not, it shouldn't be any property out there like real property.
Right, but and excuse my ignorance here, loss run means like incidents.
Claims.
Claims. We don't have any.
I know, but 5 years ago you weren't here. So
No.
we're just curious.
Your insurance company said no loss, right? It's just it's a report.
Got it.
Switch insurance companies.
Okay,
It's just a report they run.
Yeah.
No loss.
they sent me one for everything.
Yep.
Including a sister company which I don't have anything to do with. So
Yeah.
I was like, what is all this? So
Your broker should
So-
be able to extricate that for just the OHPA property. And the other thing that I noticed, and it's just because I noticed it, and that's what I sent in the email, the policy that you sent me, and I didn't have a chance to read it, but it is insuring only Nassau Terminal's DBA relay. So we want to make sure that the insurer knows
you're
that
additional insured.
property is, well, yeah, that we are insured, because if there is any claim, even if you're paying a premium as the operator, any of the claims will get paid to OHPA.
Okay.
We can deal with that offline, but that's what that's all
Sorry
about.
about that.
That was the impetus for us asking for the insurance information, just so we could go out to FMIT and the other insurance trusts as preferred governmental insurance trust.
Okay,
And just to say, hey, because you wouldn't and your broker will not have access to those.
got it. And then right now OPA pays liability and that comes out of y'all's budget every year. Okay.
It does.
Okay,
And so we did an analysis with so that's separate, the insurance and getting a quote from FMIC was just see how much they would charge.
Mhm.
In the analysis we did, we're using 309,000, right? So in the analysis, so the cost for the insurance is 309,000. Again, it's a little bit of a kind of where the insurance agent's looking at it, how much is actually attributable, but it it's more than 250,000, 300,000, and maybe 350, maybe 380, maybe 275. Again, just because, again, they're bundling their insurance. They have various facilities across the world or across the US or whatever. So, but we're using 309,000 and then going up. You'll see that on right there, insurance costs on the paper that we have in front of you, right? Insurance costs, the bottom, the third line from the bottom for 25, 26 is 309,000 going 343, 352, 362. So remember, so so going back to this payment, this agreement with the operator, the operators asked us as part of the agreement to agree to reimburse for the insurance. And so the question is, what impact does that have on OHPA? And so what you have is two sheets in front of you, and so the first sheet. So if you look at the fourth line down, which is the total facility use fees, the gross fees, okay, and then obviously 25% in year 7, 8, 9. It's at 25%, which is a little bit down. See the percent payable, 20, 25, 25. And it goes to 50 in year 10, right? And then it goes to 100% in year 13. Okay. But the agreement also says that all that money doesn't come to OHPA, right? The OHPA to the board for discretionary spending is limited to 3% of that amount in any given year. And that's what the 3% line. You see that? Percent, right? No,
Halfway there.
there. So that's the blue 3%. That's about come to OHPA. Again, based on the volumes, the operators estimating, obviously the contract, 50% split. Obviously the fees increase every year. So there's a couple of variables. So that the fee that will come to OHPA every year. And so again, insurance costs at the third line at the bottom, the net payable, and the first scenario is rolling in forward. So how much we owe OHPA? So if we started with 7 and we just roll forward, so again, based on the total use fees collected, if we just roll forward, how much we would owe the operator, how much would be left outstanding, and you can see that it turned positive in your 50. So we're caught up. Okay, this is the scenario that the operator wants to implement. So if you go to scenario 2, which is essentially the same sheet, but now it doesn't roll over each, so the balance doesn't carry forward. You can see that there's still a negative amount through year 12, and then it turns positive in year 13. At the bottom, the net payable. But the 3% contribution, because the operators agree that no matter what, off the top, they're going to send 3% contribution to OHPA if we agree to this scenario. And second, so the impact of scenario 1 versus scenario 2 is actually the CIMR funding, right? It's construction and maintenance reserve. And you can see that the construction and maintenance reserve in scenario 2 starts to be positive in year 12. Right. That's how year 13. Versus scenario 1, go back to scenario 1.
Oh, sorry.
It turned positive in year 4. So the impact of making this the cash flows for the OHPA stay the same. Okay, so the impact of making this change is on the operators' funding of, not the operators, but the funding of the amount going into the construction and maintenance. So it doesn't impact OHPA's cash flow at all. So that's to me, we're a little bit indifferent to it because obviously the CIMR fund is used specifically to offset the maintenance costs of the operator incurs in the port. And if the funds aren't there, the operator, which they've been doing, for the crane, there's not $1 million sitting in this account. The crane repair needs to be done. The operator is essentially funding that by funding that amount to OHPA. right? So that OHPA can do the math of the grant, right? So we got $1 million grant, but that has to be matched by essentially $1 million, right, to prepare the creek. There's no funds in the CIMR fund to do that, which is where those funds. And they're from the operators to put that up. And so all this does is delays the operator's ability to take money to fund the repairs by 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, moved it from year 13 to year 50, so 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you change the CPI, the insurance cost escalator and the volume assumptions, how did that impact those numbers?
So obviously gonna swing one way or the other, but it doesn't truly change it. Right, maybe, yes, the insurance dropped half, or it doubles.
It was at 11% this year. And then the next assumption is what?
Yeah, but I'll just say, I don't expect insurance to continue at the pace going up at the pace. The Florida insurance market has improved a lot. I just saw a condominium association, obviously not a port, their insurance, property insurance dropped by 30%. From last year to this year, staggering. But that's because is there more competition in the Florida market? Obviously, the legislature has been working to bring more competition in. I can't answer whether that's going to happen to this insurance, but
So the 11%, you're probably wondering like where that come from. We were stacked up under Savage, and they have a policy holder, a broker for the entire. I mean, they have operations in Saudi Arabia and everywhere else, and so obviously when we went out independent, we had to forfeit some of that discount, and that's where that jump is. And then we're just, I mean, no one can guess where insurance rates are going to go. And that's why we just put, a guess of the CPI past that. That's why the 11% jump.
well, like I said, again, obviously CPI changes are an estimate. Yes, insurance increases are an estimate, but any reasonable, the insurance costs double. Obviously, this analysis changes pretty significantly, although all it does moves it out by a year or two, or the other way, right? So again, if you keep it within the reasonable range, it's not going to change the analysis that much. And maybe a year earlier or a year later, and it's not going to completely change the analysis, no matter what scenarios you put in there. Again, keeping it reasonable. That, and that's the only thing we can assume that, yeah, I mean, we're going to do everything we can to support the operator, going to do everything we can. Obviously, if MIT may come under the lower quote, who knows? But
So could we add language that just states that, like, if some of those assumptions are not accurate, that we would reevaluate
we can,
or shall not exceed?
we can, again, because it doesn't impact the OHPA 3%, it only affects the CIMR. The impact is really on the operator. So the incentive is on the operator to keep the insurance cost down. And then, to get the lowest cost insurance. And obviously, no one can control inflation, no one can control. So, but certainly, I mean, you could, but again, the impact could, because the 3%, the volumes, same thing, and volumes of port. Obviously, if they're in the bad year, yes, that's going to change. Volumes dropping half. Obviously, it's going to have a win. Okay, but again, the impact is only on the 3% because the operator said that before they pay for the insurance, they're going to give the OPA their 3%. We're back to the only thing that's affecting it, the CIMR.
Yeah, and if I may, I would just add, I mean, it just in the spirit of partnership, the underlying message here is I think it's fair that while we are procuring and paying for property insurance, we should be starting in year 7, not going back, but we should be made whole for those costs. I mean, if it resets every year, that's a cost off my balance sheet, off my P&L that I have to pay if I can't roll that forward to the next year. And it was good to get with Pierre and some of our accounting people and go through these numbers because during some of these meetings, it was brought up that, well, this could go up forever. We could end up with millions owed to you or something. And I think it shows a clear picture that it does come back down into positive. It's just on a year-to-year basis, we've got a lot of cash going out for Fernandina, which is a good thing. And it's just, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge thing. It was just an ask, in the spirit of collaboration.
Donna? I see where you're coming from on that, and it is a thought that when I was looking over the numbers that you're gonna be divvying out for these next 4 projects that we're getting into, quite a substantial amount of money.
Cash out the doors, $4.8 million over the next probably 24 months.
So my point would be to the board of commission. What can we do on our side to help this issue to where we can be right and we can help make him right? Because he's not balking at any of the contributions. We need these cranes taken care of. We need the fencing taken care of. We need the lighting. We need these issues worked out. So I know that the ones that are sitting at these tables tonight can come up with an agreement to where we can make him whole. Give him what he needs, because certainly based on what I reviewed today, he's willing to give us what we need to get these grants taken care of. Now, I asked for your comment, right, wrong, or indifferent, but we need to take this and do something with it because it continues to show up on our agenda. And we need to take care of this issue, solve it, and move on. You have the floor.
Reading through this section, I've raised some of my concerns about the contributions to the CIMR in section 6.8, that those contributions are supposed to reach a balance of $1 million, and that facility use fees not required to maintain the balance of $1 million would be paid to the Port Authority. But as long as we continue to dip into the CIMR and we ignore that clause, then the CIMR really has no benefit. It doesn't have much meaning when it's being, used for all sorts of, it's not really observant, it's more of a ongoing maintenance account. So I agree with you in spirit. However, there are real issues with the operating agreement that are currently being litigated. And what I would like to see is that we agree to those, and that we clarify the purpose of the CMR and decide, whether or not we need that reserve. And I'm willing to move on that if we can get traction on clarifying our demise premises for exclusive use, because that needs to happen for January 1 in order to not have a continuing tax status at the Port of Fernandina of exclusive use. So we can keep kicking the can on that, but every tax year is another tax bill. And every time we bring up the operating agreement, the response is, we're not going to make any changes to the operating agreement. But yet we have these small requests that are reasonable, and I think our requests are reasonable. They're clearly expensive to not change. And so I don't see why we shouldn't take both actions are both reasonable.
I would just like to see the two entities come together. And put aside the differences, and obviously we do have differences. The operating agreement is a difference, but we're gaining traction here. We're starting to see improvements. We're starting to see items taken care of. We're starting to see some money come where we can get things done. I just think it would behoove us as a board to whatever difference we have, let's just say, put it aside temporarily. Let's get through this. And let's help make him whole, because like I say, go back and look, it's in your packet. It tells you what it's gonna be pulling out of his pocket for the next 4 items that need to be dealt with it. It's a substantial amount. He didn't come into this, in my opinion, to be a piggy bank, to be, the fundraiser. Where we can, let's help him, because he is definitely helping us. We need to keep the port and the people that work out there at the forefront. And if we sit here and we get hung up on small branches, we're never gonna get to the goal line. That's my opinion. If we need to step back from this and look at it again, maybe between Mr. McNair and Pierre, we can look at this, come to some agreement. Okay, this is what we'll do. He'll be satisfied with it. We can live with it. We can move on, but we can always come back to it and address it again. But I just think right now we're in a stall mode right now.
And I'll just say, so to the point of the CMR fund and the $1 million falling, once it reaches $1 million, that money falling. Obviously, the CIMR fund is about maintenance of the facility. Will it ever reach $1 million? Obviously, because a facility on the waterfront will always need repaired. We knew that. I mean, it's what it is. So will it ever reach $1 million? Maybe, maybe not, right? Because that essentially, again, the CIMR fund would fund the crane repair if we had $1 million, right? We need $1 million crane repair. So, and I'll just say, the operator has brought in money that the OHPA had a lot more capability than waiting for the CIMR fund to go over $1 million with the relativity, right? They've just put $150,000 in OHPA's pocket to do with what OHPA wants, not having to wait for the potential that the CIMR fund will know that $1 million. So.
Chair. Vice Chair has a question. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't see this here, but when is the break even point?
So in the first scenario, so there's 2 scenarios, right? So in scenario 1, which essentially includes the rollover, so that where the roll balance, essentially the scenario that the operator wants us to adopt. The break even point is in year 15. In scenario 2, where we don't roll forward, the break even point is in year 13.
So we continue to pay, or instead of paying nothing, we will now be incurring a debt every single year.
So in scenario 1, obviously I need to have a discussion with the auditor, but it doesn't impact your value to put, if this is debt that we need to put on our balance sheet, which again, it's not, that's a discussion that I will have to have with the auditors and kind of think this more through, but it doesn't have as much of an impact on you as it does on the operator. The operator obviously is borrowing money and stuff like that. We're not borrowing money. We have a lot of equity on our balance sheet. Again, this $1 million that the operator is giving you is equity straight to your balance sheet, where you can afford, put debt, and they're still not. Remember, 10 years ago, we were in an emergency situation because our debt exceeded our assets. That's not going to happen. So even if we have to put the money due to the operator on the balance sheet, it's not certain. Again, it doesn't have as huge of as significant an impact on the HPA as it does to the operator. But as I said, it doesn't. Yes, the debt is there. Yes, the payment is required by OHPA, but it's only funded by use fees. And again, it doesn't impact the cash flow coming to the OHPA Port Authority for the 3% that comes directly to you. Yes, it does impact the CIMR fund, which as Commissioner Hill has pointed out, needs to get to $1 million for you to have the ability to access those funds. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah, but another question, this is a debt, an annual debt that OPA will incur. Are we under a requirement to balance our budget every year, or can we carry a debt? I was under the impression we were required to balance our budget.
We can balance, we are required to balance our budget. But remember, this debt is funded by fees, the use fees being collected. So it doesn't impact our cash flow at all because it comes exclusively from use fees being collected.
Yeah, but it's a debt coming to us somehow. If we're incurring a debt because we are making the operator whole for the insurance payment that he's making, we are incurring that debt. That debt needs to be on our books.
That's
Right.
what Pierre says he's got to check with the auditors.
Well, but even if it's on our books, remember, it's going to be exactly like the security fees. Right? The security fees are in your budget, but they have no impact on your budget. Essentially, you receive funding for the security fees, and that's how much security fees you pay. In the same way, this debt will have, here's the amount of fees collected, and in your budget, here's the amount of payments you make. Yes, there's a net left over. Again, that may or may not show up on the balance sheet. And again, that's a discussion I have to have with the auditor. But again, that doesn't have any impact on your cash flow, your enterprise. What's going to show in your budget, as I said, is X amount of dollars coming in from use fees, and then X amount of dollars going out for insurance payments.
I will defer to you, Pierre, but that doesn't seem right to me from what I know, the little bit that I know about budgetary process and corporate balancing of books, and the debt has to appear somewhere.
It does.
It's a debt that we are incurring. Just because the operator may be holding that, it's still our debt.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Even if it shows up, even if we have to show it on the balance sheet, that debt is for a specific purpose. It can only be funded from a specific purpose. So, and it has no impact on the ability of OHPA to borrow a fund or do anything else that it needs to do.
Okay.
I agree with Chairman Denson. We need to work together and we need to help. We're talking about now putting $5 million on projects that are coming up. We just need to work together. Based on his sayings just now, what I'm just saying, Pierre, is scenario one, our best option. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying you're indifferent to scenario one or scenario two.
Okay.
And the operator obviously wants scenario one.
Okay.
So,
All right.
when you're from a cash flow standpoint, the OHPA is different between scenario one and scenario two. The only account impacted is the CIMR fund. And as Commissioner Hill pointed out, reaching $1 million, getting over that. Yes, that impacts that timeline.
All right. And Tammy, are we able to bring this, did we revisit this down the road?
Sure. Of course.
Okay. Well, in that case,
I would say,
I'll make the motion that we go to scenario one.
I would say with Pierre, maybe he can go ahead and check with y'all just to make sure that we're inside of that goal. whether it would create a problem for us.
Well, it's not gonna create a problem.
Okay.
That I'm sure, of. It's not gonna create a problem. All I'm saying is, does the debt have presented on our books? But it's not gonna create any issues for the OHPA to present that debt on our books. Okay, the books are still gonna be balanced. The books are, you're still gonna be in a positive situation as far as equity. So it's not gonna impact, and because OHPA doesn't have the cash flow to go out and borrow money, that's one of the issues, right? So we can't really go out and borrow money anyway. It's not gonna have any impact on our government bill.
I made the motion, you seconded it.
All in favor of moving forward on the motion, say aye. Aye.
Can,
All opposed?
can the vice,
No,
can he enter the vote?
He may, yes. So the vote was
4 to
4
1.
yes and 1 opposed.
Okay.
So do they can go back and
So what we need to do is we do need to,
$3 million.
rather than just appeal it and wipe it off the books, we should just amend it and clarify what we're actually doing.
remember so in 2018, 2019, 2019, there was a clarification of the operating that said we were not gonna roll over the amount for the, specifically saying we were gonna only do scenario 2. So now we need to just go back and amend that resolution. So I guess you'll bring that to the next meeting.
Michelle?
Can we set that up?
Yes, sir. Next meeting.
Next,
Yep.
next meeting.
And so given that, I'm assuming that we're in agreement, given that resolution, we're in agreement to move forward with the. So the OHPA will receive the $50,000 fee and 3%. So then again, you have an additional $50,000 to receive, because that's, remember, the first $50,000 per the agreement, first $50,000 of fees collected for use fees.
Again, please.
Before we go to a vote, I want to offer an amendment to the motion.
It's already been voted on, but you can still offer any changes you'd like. The motion passed, but if you want some other action or some modification, I mean. If,
I would like to amend the approved motion to set a sunshine date on it. On an expiration date of 2 years.
You want to amend the motion to essentially the rollover would end after 2 years.
yeah, it did. The motion passed unless there's any further action or changes. I mean, this is still in play. That motion passed, and unless the board wants to entertain anything else, then.
Yeah, I make a motion that we amend the previous resolution or the previous motion, approved motion, to establish a sunshine date on that motion of 2 years from today.
Okay, and is there a second to that motion?
It's talking about the resolution 20.
He's talking about the arrangement, which means that when we do amend, he wants to make a motion that the action that this board takes. And it's obviously a little bit different than what was just passed, that there be added to this arrangement a 2-year sunset provision, meaning that this agreement that we're entering into is, and it's all gonna be written up, is going to expire 2 years from today.
There a Robert's rules way to do that?
He's just making an, I mean, I think that because we don't have anything on the table written right now, if he wants to throw a motion out there, I mean, at the pleasure of the chair, he can do that, and I don't think there's a second, Vice Chair. Okay, so you got a second from Commissioner Hill for purposes of discussion.
Right. At least in my mind, there's considerable disagreement on whether we are saddling ourselves with a unsustainable level of debt. I think that a 2-year sunset on that motion is appropriate. That allows us to operate under it for 2 years. that doesn't saddle us with that approved motion forever and a day. In 2 years from now, we can look at it and determine if it was a good idea. If it wasn't, we're not saddled with it. The motion would terminate at 2 years and we could walk away from it.
But I don't understand, I mean, I did second it for the discussion, but when you look at like the figures in the table that Pierre provided, in 2 years, I don't see the accruals having a meaning, like. I think that's the whole point, right? Is that it's supposed to be like something that carries for 5 years longer.
And if you wanted sunset, do 10 years. Right? So essentially that would go past where it would catch up to itself, right? So we're still in debt at that point and we're not catching up because, you know, the situation has turned, do you or don't we sunset it? 2 years, yes, is really meaningless for this agreement, right? So, but certainly in 10 years, we're not on path, you know, 20, because we're year 7 now, we're talking about year 15. So now we know, did it work, did it not, or we should do build that.
I mean, that's where I said, could we do like a shall not exceed or something?
Well, that's what I'm saying, this will never be paid from anything like this. Right, so, and again, the OHPA is receiving his money, so if this stretches past year, whatever year, you know, the break even, the only thing being impacted further is the CIMR, which the operator needs repairs for.
Unless we amended the whole thing, if you find a better insurance. Right.
Well, no, but it would still make sense. Scenario. Well, I mean, it would scenario, if the insurance costs 150,000, half of what it is today. All that does is shrink these numbers and move the break even here. And you get more money to CIMR fund quicker. That's all I mean. I mean, that again, it doesn't change the spirit of the agreement, which is that the operator, you know, is using the CIMR, the funds to keep the debt off their balance sheet. And reducing the amount they're funding into the CIMR fund.
Commissioner, I would leave the motion and the vote as it is, and we'll move forward with it. There's nothing says that in the future we can't readdress it. I mean, that's this board's pleasure. So let's move on.
You do need to vote. We got a motion and a second.
I'll call the vote. I call the vote.
We are.
Okay,
You mean you rescind your vote?
No, he's just asking the chair to call the vote.
okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, no.
That motion fails.
Okay, any further question? All right, let's move on to 7B, budget fiscal year 26-27.
So I need inputs. So I do have one change that I do need you to approve. And obviously that's the salaries office administrator, or contract calls for annual increase, cost of living increase. So we calculated that, so that line for the office administrator would go from 68,365, what it was in currently in this current year, it would go to 73. So I just need your approval to do that change. 70316. It's a 3.5% increase. That's what we're using for inflation. So can I make that change to vote on these things? Again, we're going to vote on the budget later. I just, you know, if everybody's okay with that, again, that's what the contract calls for. So we're going to make that change. And then, as I said, the next one is your salaries. You know, we have the funds available. Do you want to go back to, you know, to?
Chair, I would like a recommendation that we go back to salaries. That's. I mean, Commissioner Moore talks about round numbers. You know, it's 3.5 and not giving us any round number. Make us flare or, yeah, I'm saying we need to go back. Yeah, that's what the state says that we can make in our charter, and that's what it should be. It was admirable of this board to do what we did to make our budget meet, and all for it. But now that we're seeing some daylight, I would say we need to go back to it. And if it hasn't worked out a year from now, you can do it.
Yeah, we're talking about what, $300 a month?
Yeah, it's $20,000 total, right? $20,000 additional to the budget. It's the total for the salaries is $120,000 for the commissioner.
So. 20,000 compared to what we, let's get it to 4, we're working with revenue here to be additional funds here to be good at. 20,000 is still going to be, in my opinion, a lot. I think this is an option for us to use this additional revenue to really get us into a better financial stable position. I had some ideas and reminding Pierre's help to kind of walk me some of this, but it involves reserve account or accounts. I think we need for reserve contingencies, so we want to see allocations. I think capital reserve fund, movements, repairs, reserve for the opportunities there. And the old purposes, or ultimately anything that's going to generate revenue. So I think that we need to really take a step back, think 5 years out, and where we will be, where we can be. Again, this shouldn't run fast. Used to be in it, it's great. But I think as we look at this funding, look at the current $7,000 looks like right now. You know, we need to look at set a goal, look at getting our contingencies replaced, having 6 months worth of operations, operational expenses. So if we take that 157,000 and we focus on contingency now, place 60% of that into reserves, that's roughly $94,000 to go toward emergencies. If we put 30% toward capital, it's $47,000 to go back first year, and then we place 10% toward reserve opportunities. That's almost $16,000. So the minus 107,000 that we're generating this additional revenue. Next year we do the same, and then going to year 3, you can then start focusing more on putting more into the capital and into the opportunities. But as we're looking ahead and thinking 5 years ahead, thinking to the future, we need to plan with a purpose. And I think this really gets us a strong starting point to get us back on solid financial ground. So the $20,000 additional, again, I would be opposed to that, and we need to start building up these reserves as fast as we can, so we can start actually doing stuff in the years to come and be in better.
Well said. I agree with everything that Commissioner Turner just said.
All right, let's do this. Let's defer this until
So obviously reserves are only so obviously just like the motion, you can change a previous decision. Reserves are only as good as that discipline that this board has not to spend that money, right? So because the reserves, there's no legal restriction that says we create a capital. There's no legal restriction that stops you 3 weeks from now going into that money and saying, hey, we need that reserve for this, right? So just so and to be a state policy, financial policy in place too. So we're we are disciplined when it comes to spending, tapping into those returns. And so the second comment I'll just say is the capital reserve. And obviously the port's needs are $4.8 million. So $40,000 to $50,000 is going to be a drop in the.
Well, it should be noted, the state's being very generous and picking up some of that stuff. I'm just saying, that's, you know.
I mean, no, but, I mean, there are $4.8 million to be spent on the board.
And that's what he's making. Not to go, that's the cash that we have to come up with to originally fund. We do get some of that back in reimbursements, but as we've seen, the reimbursement cycle is not fast.
Through the chair, may I ask Ted a question?
Yeah,
Just,
the reimbursement cycles aren't the best.
do you have, Ted, we're looking towards the future and then the near past in terms of, do you have numbers, even rough numbers for what Nassau Terminals, Relay, Savage have put into in terms of investment since 2022 when you took over the contract?
I could pull it from 2022, but I know,
Like just a ballpark, I'm curious, and this will go to, I have some comments at the end of the meeting when we're finished with our business.
so I think I actually do have that. I think if I can pull it, but I think, I'm opening it now. I think what we said was. So from 22 forward, I think I sent this out, it's 2.3 million that's been spent.
Okay. Thank you. I'll tell you why I asked that later.
But that wasn't a trick question.
No, it's a good thing.
Okay.
It's very good.
So as I said, putting the money into these different buckets, again, but the discipline from the board has to be there. Because again, there's nothing that stops you from changing the policy, right? Yes, we can put all these policies in. It really is the discipline of the board to stay focused on achieving whatever objectives that this money is meant for, as opposed, putting aside, absolutely putting in a reserve account. I'll say also, we're talking about 130,000, 157. 157 is the full year. Well, that's the full year contribution, just, it's 130,000 for the budget that we're talking about now. If we go through November, it's gonna be 157,000, just to be clear.
Okay, with that being said, I know you need to have some kind of direction for the budget purposes. I would like to have this budget approved and done away with, the first meeting next month. So that gives us some time to kind of think, if we want to make changes, we need to do it by then, so that at least we have the last meeting of the month, I believe that's on the 23rd. That if we do need to make any final changes, we can make it then, but, let's defer this to the next meeting. Give us all a chance to kind of digest it, look at it, and then we will revisit it. We will get them, but
If I may still work,
absolutely.
real quick, and just a reminder, with, $335 to the next one. That stays in, unable to vote on the budget, so I understand. So if, anyone wanted to take that out, I'd like to go over the budget, and then, of course, that can be amended, back, I can be staying or figure out that.
I'll just say the only one significant part was the Florida Courts Council. Was that considered closed? Do you want to revisit that issue? Obviously, that was supposed to make another budget, the salary rule, budget restrictions, the Florida Courts Council, budget restriction. Do we or don't we want to revisit that? Again, I don't need an answer today, it's just, again, those were the decisions that were made because of spending issues last year.
Commissioner, please give that some consideration so that when we reconvene for our first meeting next month, we can answer these questions. All right.
Chair?
And yeah,
Commissioner Cole made a motion though, but he did not get a second. So, yeah.
I thank you for bringing that up, but unless you're withdrawing the motion, we'll need to,
I was in it.
okay, so let's
Work,
work.
the workshop, but
So we withdraw your, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
anything else before we move on? All right, let's go into new business. We do have a public comment by Mr. Bob Virtue on the RFP for U.S. Customs. Bob, you come on up.
Virtue 424 First Street. My question basically boils down to whether or not the facility There's just today, the face of Third Street will be impacted by renovation or demolition. Because if it is, it's in the historic district. Any exterior renovation or demolition would need to be approved by the historic district capital. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, on the RFP for the CBP office, you have that in your packet. Mayor, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, so look, if you want to take, there seems to be a new design standard. So we were talking about that, and we've been working off of the 2019 design standard. And so I believe CBP emailed Commissioner Hill saying there's a 2025 standard. But we can't get that until OPA signs an NDA to get it. And so two-part question. Should we just put this on ice until we get those design standards? And then number two is we need clarification on how we can insert that into an eventual RFP so bidders can reference it, because no one's going to be able to accurately bid on a project if they don't know the design specs. So I don't know what the rule is with CBP with giving that out. So we have to get NDAs from every person, or can we distill down something that can be given to ABC Construction or whoever?
You have any?
Get the NDA today, as Doug mentioned, and I haven't had the opportunity to get Tammy's feedback on it, but I mean, I'm willing to sign it, but I don't think I'm the one who's qualified to say whether the RFP matches the specifications in their specs. So, on the one hand, I'm happy to sign it and of course would not, share anything that I receive. But on the other hand, I don't want to receive something that I don't really need to receive if I have a substantive opinion on it. So I guess we don't know what to do. So anyone that looks at those design specs does have to sign this. It's a 3-page, I'm not going to distribute it. So perhaps the way to handle it is to issue the RFP without the specifications, and then once you have like a pool of qualified, we do that like 2-stage, once you have identified the qualified.
Sure, yeah, you could do, I
Then they
don't,
sign NDAs and receive the specs.
yes. And one thing, there's a few issues. Number one, and I'm not gonna go into NDAs that we've signed with the operator for reviewing records. This specifically, this NDA required by Customs and Border Protection is completely lawful because everything they're talking about is not a public record because of the security and building plans and stuff like that. So that's why, like I said today specifically, you can sign these NDAs, no problem whatsoever. And just make sure you abide by that. And what was your, I'm sorry, which is,
So the 2-stage RFP process.
oh yeah, that's easy. Yeah, we can do a request for letters of interest and just kind of generally say what the scope is, and then you can, yeah, there's absolutely a way to do that, yes. Or that's just requesting qualifications. Yeah, I'm not thinking right now, but that's absolutely can be done. Yep.
But then what's the process for sharing that part? Is those spec with the operator and
Anyone who gets them has to sign this.
Yeah,
and so there's no issue with the operator signing them.
I haven't asked them, and I'm not sure that was clear in the email.
And that was my question to both of y'all. Being a federal entity, can any person sign an NDA and get these specs, or is it a government to government thing?
Yeah, but governments have consultants all the time, so everybody's
I don't
not
know.
an officer, you know what I mean? So I would think that we probably should check just to make sure we're not breaking any of their rules, but I would say that we're gonna have to have consultants, contractors, or whatever, have a look so that we're gonna have to have the plans reviewed, so.
So what I would suggest is that we provide an NDA, like if I need to sign it, fine, so I sign it and send it to her. Let Customs provide me the specs. If there's someone else who's going to get them, let them sign this, we'll provide that to Customs, then let Customs give them.
the specs.
I don't think we
Perfect.
should be,
Then we're not handed out the specs just because we think it's the right thing. Yeah, thanks, yeah, good point.
In my opinion, since you're committee or you're the commissioner of that, if you take charge of that, and I think if we confine this to people that just have to know, it's gonna be better off for everybody rather than
Mhm.
things getting out there, getting into the wrong hands.
So, question though, because I know it was up for a vote. Should be up for a vote tonight. Should we put this on ice and amend the RFP draft? To include mention?
Potentially, yes.
So that's what I'm just not trying not to move too fast here.
And then tonight, I don't want to delay either another 2 weeks and us getting, or does it really matter?
It's, for me, it's a long-term project. But I mean, I'd rather get it right the first time, but it's up to y'all.
I think because we just got the new standards,
We'll wait.
then we can, 2 weeks is not gonna kill anything. But we get the answers for the questions that we have. That way we move forward without having to doubt our action.
And I would like, if I'm a bidder, I would want to know that well, I'm gonna have to enter into an NDA to get this design specs.
Wow.
Yeah.
so attached to the email that, Manager Gibbons sent out earlier today is a revised POR program of requirements with reflect reductions in square footage from the previous requirements that were provided. And so I think that she is not restricting this underneath. These documents were circulated to Rosanna, to me, without having signed it. That's the revised square footage that would align with option D that was previously selected by the board. So Manager Gibbons sent this email. I've asked Rosanna to share it with the board. So please just read that email, commissioners, because, in there, she's saying that they support us pursuing option D. She supports pursuing this within parameters. They've reduced the square footage. They want to work with us. If you want to see the new requirements, the new program requirements, then you have to sign NDA. So it's pretty straightforward.
I think we follow that guideline and you sign the NDA, get the information, and then we move forward.
Sounds good. So we are not voting on this one then.
Correct. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
So, we're bringing this back next meeting with the amended RFP. Who is going to amend the RFP? Just to confirm.
It's adding a couple sentences, so either of us can do it.
And I'm gonna take a look at it too, just to see all this.
And I'll do a compare and contrast to the updated requirements that she set out to make sure they still jive with what I put in there.
Okay, so Rosanna's gonna work with you on the amendment.
Between me or Xander, no.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything further on that one before we move on? Commissioner? Okay. All right, let's move on to new business B. FDOT grant agreements, action item on the lighting, warehouse, frame rail, on the dock, and security fencing. Those are all in there. Suggest that we do it as the last one, one at a time, and Ruth.
Are you talking about the operator agreements that Tammy prepared or the FDOT agreements?
The FDOT is.
Did you also prepare?
I did a letter, a matching
I thought it was.
a matching letter.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
And it's just standard, it's just one.
Yeah, it's the one I signed before, right? Yeah.
And the resolution, and I prepared a resolution. Did I? I don't,
That was the thing.
I'm so confused,
Just
about-
one moment, please.
which number, I know I prepared a resolution. but
I
didn't
think
have
we
it.
did. 4 resolutions.
Because DOT with every grant agreement, you have to do a resolution. And what we've done in the past, I mean, sometimes we have the resolution, sometimes we don't. Well, when I looked at the grant agreement, I was like, oh, we need a resolution, so I drafted.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do need a motion for each one and vote on it.
Yes. So 4 resolutions.
4 resolutions.
Yeah.
So let's take the lighting first. Vote on the FDOT grant agreement, the resolution, and the local match agreement for each grant agreement.
A quick question, if you don't mind, where is the security grant?
The security grant was already approved.
Okay,
Security gates,
That,
that's
yeah,
done.
that was done.
okay, so that RFP, is it posted?
In 1 moment. No, it's not.
Okay. We just want to let the vendors know. Anyway, you do me a favor and just email, sorry to do this to you, but email Travis when they're live.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just gonna take the resolution and approve the resolution for each item. That's sufficient, Tammy?
Yes, do they have numbers assigned them?
If I may direct the board.
Yeah. These
So
for,
let's take the lighting grant agreement first.
Okay, that's the 26 R11. 2026 R11.
Correct.
so in your
Okay.
motion, please approve it, resolution R 2026 R.
We have a motion to approve 2026 R11. We have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passed now. All right, the next one would be the fencing, which would be 2026 R12. We have a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
So I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Approved. Move on to the crane rail removal, resolution 2026 R13. We have a motion. Have a second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That was R 13. That was R 13. All right, the next is the warehouse 1, 2, and 3. That would be resolution 2026 R 14. We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. Passed. Okay.
Thanks, guys. This is gonna be great.
Anything else? On that?
No, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the letter agreement.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the letter of agreement, for the,
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant matching funds
what
that.
I alluded to earlier in the meeting, but it's like, I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, who seconded that in the motion?
Taylor.
Who motioned? Oh, okay, all right.
And to clarify, my motion was that the chair is authorized to sign it.
The grant agreements.
Take care of that. Any further items, on that to discuss?
Yes, the
Okay.
grant agreement.
Okay,
We need to approve the grant.
They
agreement.
did.
I'm sorry.
The resolution says
Yeah.
approving the grant. agreement. So they're.
Thank you.
okay. All right. All right, let's move down to C. Security incidents. I know that the commissioners have been inundated with information since last Friday, I believe. I'm gonna leave that for y'all to digest on your own. I just wanted to step out and to say that the incident, once the report was made, was expeditiously handled. Uh, Allied, along with Relay, and myself as a representative of this board, passed the information along to each one of the commissioners. Out of that, I staged a meeting with some local law enforcement on 8/20. That was put out, and I wanted to get Coast Guard's feedback. I wanted to get MPLE's feedback and, Fernandina Beach. We did have a meeting. It was very constructive. And basically, there was a human error. Once you determine that, it's really not a whole lot you can do after that. You can't beat that issue so far. And everybody that was there, that knew the area, y'all saw the video. I assume that you saw the video. And the concern that I have is this has been a steady issue, that we have these incidents. And, my concern was to find a, solution. And I think we've got some pretty good ideas from some real smart people on how to move forward with this. I know that there's a meeting coming up, as soon as Mr. McNair can give me some dates, with the security company, and we're gonna take it to another level. We've got commitments from all law enforcement agencies, including the Coast Guard. They came in force. They have concerns. They voice those concerns, but it's nothing that can't be fixed. We can fix it. So, with that being said, I hope along with the other commissioners are satisfied. You've got everything that I've got. As far as documentation, you got the videos. It's just, there's really no way to explain it to where it's acceptable. It was not acceptable. So I'm gonna ask Travis, if you got anything to add to that. You weren't at the meeting, but I'm sure that, Phil reported to you on it. There were some very good ideas, and I think we need to act on those. The biggest thing that I listen to, it's hard to get into somebody's head and find out what their intentions are. You just don't know. So you have to have provisions in place that will meet that challenge, to try to keep any unauthorized person out of that restricted area. I wish I could have had a camera and took a picture of the chief of Coast Guard's face. When he started talking, you could see the concern, you could see the desire to get this straightened out and get it done quickly. So I know that there's some plans. What we just voted on is gonna go a long way to eliminate a lot of these issues that we have. I know, from the meeting that the restaurant that's right there at the shop and the warehouse, about 4 o'clock, it starts really getting wild down there. We have to coexist with them, but it has created some issues for the court. The people parking their big trucks in the middle of the road and blocking where nobody can get by and doing whatever they do. Bernardino Beach did tell us in the meeting, if we need them, don't hesitate to call them. If it's suspicious in action, call them right away. We need to utilize that offer of assistance. So let's do it. If there's an issue, let's don't second guess it, because if we try to second guess it, we're gonna get embarrassed. Okay, let them come, let them investigate, and let's be done with it. He was more than helpful. He was more, I mean, he's like, hey, you need us, we'll be. So let's take him up on that. Commissioners, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. You know, we're just trying to move ahead with the security and the report, that we ensure that we're doing everything possible to keep people from getting in and to getting in a situation they can't get out.
Chairman, so we saw some timelines of when you were planning to make expenditures for a lot of these grants that we just approved. Are you going to expedite any of the security items in light of these incidents?
Well,
Or can you? Because when do you think we'll be like pulling permits and doing the work? It's.
so I don't think any of the things that could help this situation, again, a lot of this was human error. But the upgrades we're doing will help. I would say two things. Number one, I don't think any of this work needs a permit. I don't think, these are all just repair.
Like fencing upgrades with them.
Right. But
So by the lighting and signage, like if they're gonna
So-
be like,
the two things that are gonna help, sorry, the two things that are gonna really help are the gate automation, right? Which we just need to post the RFP and get that going. So post 30 days, vote. It's gonna be December before it's installed, to be honest. And that goes so that the security gate automation and the lighting are gonna be the two big ones. The fence, it's not like the fence is falling down that we're replacing, it's just needs to be replaced as a long-term item.
so the city and the sheriff's department, they have city police, they have those camera towers.
SWAT cameras,
Well, they're the like the construction security cameras, like if you're building a site where you're having things stolen, you can tell them that you're having an issue, and they'll put those mobile cameras at the site until you can make the upgrades. I'm thinking signage, lighting, or something that tells kids, like, this is a federal facility, you will be prosecuted. Like, that we really, to me, when you approach the game, it's clear to me because I'm looking for it, and I'm an adult. But for the uneducated, uninformed, and immature, we might need to put some sort of signage or something that alerts, like even in the doors of the warehouses that are close to the restaurants, some type of signage. Until we can do the security upgrades. That's just my thought. I'm just one of five.
Mr. Mayor, on North Second Street, as it comes to the south side gate, the one that they got in. The signage there, yeah, Travis, I can get with you and let's identify those two because they are hard to read. FPLE pointed it out. Hey, if you could do something with that, it may help. It's a start. But I think in the long run, with what we've done tonight, approving this is going to go a long way. That automating those gates where they're controlled from the central guard shack will be a big plus.
that'd be a huge plus.
Yeah, be a big plus. So if you have any questions, come out there, go out there and look. I mean, you'll see. These electric bikes, I hate to say it, but they get people in trouble. They really do. If you just watch them. I mean, you got video, you can watch them. I mean, they sit there and had a discussion. The only thing that was disturbing to everybody that viewed that video, the time lapse.
And the reporting, like the FSO.
And the reporting.
Mhm.
Addressing those kids as soon as they reach that gate. It would have went a long way with Coast Guard to eliminate the urgency of it.
Mhm.
And it didn't happen. So I think those are being worked out. So we'll leave it at that. We're not gonna beat it up. We'll move on and we'll make our provisions of security. And, I think it'll go along. Any questions? Okay. Office manager report.
Chair, may I address Mrs. Bach with a question?
Sure.
Mrs. Bach, can I, so Pierre's associate made this spreadsheet to show, for checks and balances, to show the, change for the AOM salary year to year with the CPI adjustment.
Mhm.
So may I, send the board a spreadsheet, comparing the current year and then the next year with the 3.5 CPI that,
So they can see.
so they can see, they can compare, and also, I would put on there how much I'm paying for my health insurance. Not to sway their vote or anything, but just for information.
Understood. I do have to ask, because I know we voted on your contract. Is there a vote every year? Your contract doesn't come up every year, but your salary does,
Yeah.
or is it just automatically with approval of the budget? It's a separate vote, your salary?
It's automatic.
There's
but-
built-in cost.
and They can vote on it,
Absolutely.
yes
Yes.
or no.
Yes, that's not a conflict or anything.
Thank you. That's it.
If you're actually allowed to advocate for yourself, even in a government agency, for your compensation.
Okay, anything else on that?
I have, just whenever you're
I'm done.
finished, can I just make my comment?
Sure.
Or- Okay, so just along the lines of the operator, stepping up and helping with grants,
Mhm.
that's an understatement, I understand. Because I know how much it is, the letter. I am a member of the Nassau County Economic Development Board. And every year we have annual awards. And so I just wanted you to know and to say that here that I nominated Nassau Terminals doing business as Relay Terminals for the new business investment annual award.
Oh, thank you.
Because it is an investment that you're making here. You are a new business or newer business in Nassau County, and I thought it was appropriate. So I'll let you know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that,
Thank you.
yeah. The other
Letter of support.
part,
Can we offer a letter of support?
I would love it. Yes. Yes, in fact, that's what I was typing up, asking the numbers, because I messed up the numbers when I did filled out the form today, so I was like, oh no, it's much more.
Oh, I can just send you a spreadsheet.
Oh, no, it's much more than what I said. So, and I also wanted to say, we have our Nassau County Economic Development Board at its annual luncheon on August 13th. And Commissioner Cole was honored for his more than 20 years of service as a member on the board. So thank you for your service. That's all I have.
Thank you for bringing that to us. All right, commissioners, any items that you have, Mr. Cole? Mr. Taylor?
I did bring the TPO report, which has, local roads projects, and I highlighted them, so down the roads, I'll leave this here for you. What is very considered, anything like yours?
Vice Chair, do you have any? Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Aye. Meeting adjourned.